Hey guys, what's up? We are back with some more reactions after dark. Of course, we are going to be watching YouTube's Darkest Channels 7, obviously by Nick Crowley. And I just realized the other day that I used to have like this graveyard picture in the background right now as like an option for my little UI here, and I got rid of it, and then I was like, why am I not using it for this series? So we're back to using that. Not that you can really see it, but it's literally just the graveyard from my outro, which if you stick to the end, you will see the outro that I'm talking about, but just that graveyard that I made, which, yes, I did make that in Blender, if you wanted to know. Everything in that shot I made from scratch in Blender. But yeah, we're just going to be watching this. The last time what we had, Laser Masquerade, of course, which I forget the first two stories. Okay, I think the first... Okay, now I remember. The first one was Snuff. The second one was Voyeurism. So, two complete opposite ends of, like, evil. Because Voyeurism, whatever. Snuff, like, oof. And then the last one was the, of course, wives who want to wish death to their husbands. And a sight that they all believe has actually killed them or will eventually kill them. That was pretty interesting, even though I'm pretty sure I've already heard of that site before. But we'll see what we're going to get into now. I might know what this first one is. I'm not really sure. It sounds familiar, but you see the name for this section down here. You can't see my mouse. The name for the section here. Nice guy must die. And this random assortment of letters is familiar for some reason. This, I don't know. This, for some reason, just seems familiar. Also, again, if you have any suggestions, because we are running out of Masquerade and Crowley videos, so any SCP stuff, horror, dark stuff, etc. We have Mr. Ballin, like maybe I'll add that if I run out of stuff. If I run out of these two without anything else, I'll see what Mr. Ballin has. Though I have watched his stuff before. We'll watch other people watch his stuff before.
Tell you what we're going to do today.
Of course, flashing images shown. And the following video contains scenes that may be upsetting, and distressing for some. Viewer discretion is advised. No, like, list of things that are going to show up in this, so I'm guessing this is going to be a pretty soft one, possibly. If there's no actual list of dark stuff in this one. We just had nice guy must die over and over again in the background there.
This is my house from the street. Here is my car. This is a 2-bedroom brick ranch, conveniently located.
It's the final day of February 2008. A 47-year-old man living in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, named George Sedini, publishes his very first video to YouTube under the channel MOS-B46PGH.
I paid $79,000 for this in 1996. That's considered a lot, believe it or not.
The upload, titled How George Pittsburgh Lives, was almost like an old-school house tour of sorts, as George proudly displays the outside of his home, before then doing the same inside.
Open it up. Oh, someone left it unlocked. That's not good. Inside, okay.
Peter, right
And
at the
to
door.
the other side.
Seemingly making a point of mentioning every minute feature in the otherwise dim and empty home.
Here's my big screen TV. It's my computer, couch and chair. They match.
What year is this? We have a boxed monitor for the computer, yet we have a flat screen for the television.
Dining room set, shoebox full of old.
Yeah, we have a CRT. I think those monitors are also CRT. We have a CRT for the computer, but like flat screen for your actual just regular television.
Pictures.
To anyone who may have stumbled upon this strange video or Sedini's channel in general back in 2008, it would likely come off as entirely uninteresting and far from anything disturbing. However, to those who find it today, this couldn't be more different, as the account carries with it a layer of disturbing context due to the events that transpired after this first video was published.
Yeah, I don't know what this is, so this seems familiar, but I don't think I've seen this before.
Events that have since transformed the MOS-B46PGH page into one of YouTube's darkest channels.
Name drop. Okay, the intro, like the little subtle editing and stuff he does with these videos are like really good. Like this intro that he's about to bleed into, and then that what just happened there, the slow rumble down into the title drop. If my model could do 2 thumbs up, they would be up right now. So I'm physically doing that. I mean, if I was using it in VNAN, it would possibly be able to do that, but VNAN is just so it requires so much horsepower. I mean, I would have paused, so I would have been able to actually do it, but don't worry about that.
Woman's dream.
Do something so she remembers your name.
Keep your mate with you. Make sure he's someone you can trust. Be careful, is all I can say.
I'm gonna post this and see what comes back.
Is that just stock B-roll, or is he about to do an ad?
I'm sure most of you guys have heard about the TikTok ban at this point. And honestly, there's something about it that's been bothering.
What time period is this? Talk about the TikTok ban? 3 months ago, wasn't that like? Didn't it happen years ago?
Me. You or I could do a simple Google search and in a matter of seconds find countless different data broker websites where you can buy pretty much anyone's personal data for just a few bucks. And not only can anyone do that, but it's also perfectly legal. If you watched the news at all last year, you were bound to see countless different big companies with terrible security getting hacked
I'm guessing
and having
that
their data leaked. But as much as those companies claim to,
guessing this is where the video starts, yeah, because it has the most replays. The ends of these videos have the most as well, I guess, because people are just like getting through and then skipping to whatever happens there, and then skipping here to get to the next one, possibly. Yeah, I don't know anything about any of these sponsors. I don't know anything about Aura specifically. Not something I'm going to end up using.
They'll even immediately give you a heads up if someone tries to use your data to access your credit or bank accounts. That kind of proactive protection is literally priceless nowadays. So if you're ready to take control of your online safety, go to my link at aura.com/Crowley to get your first 14 days completely free, which will give Aura more than enough time to see if any of your personal information is floating around out there on the web. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect yourself today.
That doesn't really matter for me.
Little hallway, 2 bedrooms. 2 bedrooms. To the right is my bedroom.
Another CRT computer monitor.
Without any context, it's hard to know what the purpose of George Sidini's first video was, if it even had one at all.
Could have been in a box next to it too. So 2 computers in this house. One in the living room, or one at the entrance, and then one in his room.
The entire thing just felt so random. But within
And the building's like empty.
the footage itself was one clue that hints at the fact that George actually had a very specific reason for uploading this.
Printer there as well. So that's like probably the work one. But what is the one in the bedroom for? As I look up.
With that clue coming in the form of a book on his coffee table.
Okay, come over here. There's some reading material that we're all familiar with.
Office politics and date young women for men over what? How old was this man? 40 or 50? He has to be older than that, right? This was 2008. He bought this house in the 60s? 60s or 70s? Question mark? 40? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it looks like this says 33, but like, why such a specific number?
It was called How to Date Young Women for Men Over 35.
Okay, 35. Can't see that 5. Why specifically 35 and not 30?
Which was about as creepy as it sounded.
I mean...
My first guest today is a 51-year-old bachelor who says if you're a single woman over 30, you're a dating has-been. Please meet every woman's dream, Don Steele.
Its author, Don Steele, had made a living as a dating counselor and life coach, creating various books and programs that were geared towards socially awkward men, exploiting them with the promise that someday they'll be able to get the younger girl of their dreams, even after they reached middle adulthood, and all that they had to do was pay for his course, pay for the book, and dedicate themselves to becoming more desirable.
Well, I mean, nowadays, 35 is, what? Geriatric? Oh my god, geriatric? That's how everyone treats it at this point, right?
and George Sidini was the perfect target. Despite having a successful career as a systems analyst at a law firm, he struggled
Probably has multiple computers in his house, and a printer, and whatever was underneath the printer.
to maintain any relationships with the women that he met. It had been well over a decade since he last had a girlfriend, and despite desperately wanting one, George just seemed to lack the ability to connect with women on any level, even as just friends. And as his isolation began to grow, so too did his obsession with finding a girlfriend. George had nearly given up these pursuits too, until he was introduced to Don Steele's course, viewing the program as his last real shot at human connection, obsessively reading the book to the point that he was supposedly able to recite passages by memory alone. On top of this, he would also attend many of this supposed guru's in-person seminars, with some of his visits even being captured on camera and later posted onto Don Steele's YouTube channel.
It used to be down here. It was called a codpiece, and it's gradually over the years moved up here. So it's red like an erect you-know-what.
And it was in these courses where George was subjected to all sorts of bizarre and unsettling ideology.
Turn around here, look at me, and I'm going to tell you what we're going to do today more than anything.
Right Attitude Workshop Part 1.
Else, we're going to do this. Nice guy must die.
But despite agreeing with this man wholeheartedly and following all of his work, George was still
They just happen to have a woman here?
making very little progress, which was evident by the footage of him attending these seminars, as he appears incredibly nervous and kept mainly to himself. And so, recognizing that George had much to improve on, he was given an assignment by one of his instructors. He was told to film a video of his house, so that the instructors and everyone else in the class could see if he was really making himself and his environment desirable enough.
Assuming that he is not the bad guy, usually the focus is always on whoever's being portrayed as like the protagonist is usually the bad guy. So, I mean, saying the protagonist is the bad guy, but it's just like whoever the main character is the bad guy. So this guy's the main character, and he's usually being portrayed as a bad guy in these videos. But someone instructs you to give a full rundown of your house. I don't know. I feel like that is just a hey. Let's see your house so we can rob you. Yeah, I mean, his house was actually pretty bare bones, in my opinion. Well, not bare bones, but he has nothing too crazy. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not even like serial killer level, like where it's just like pure white with no furniture. It's as dull as a house can be. There's nothing special about it. So it's like there's nothing to be worried about. Or like be not becoming to anyone who enters. Like, this house looks fine to me.
To any woman who might come over.
I mean,
Okay, couch and chair, they match. The woman will really be impressed.
Yeah, there's like literally nothing. It's just a regular house with minimal stuff inside.
Knowing this, the footage feels so much lonelier.
You look here, there's nothing on the walls. There's some carpeting. There's a trash can, I think,
it was almost like he was
down
trying
there.
to
That
sell
must be
his
the
way
kitchen.
of living as being good enough for a partner that he was really no closer to finding.
Yeah, he's like really trying to keep his house just clean. Like, that's at least a decent descriptor. It's clean. There's not any clutter anywhere. I mean, there's nothing on the walls. There's no decorations, which I don't think that really matters, because if a woman comes over and sees a house like that and she wants to be with you, she'll decorate it herself, right? If she wants to do that. So he doesn't need any of that. Again, his house is fine. That's what I'm saying. His house is fine. But I think this is malicious. This could be malicious if they're actually trying to break into his house and steal his stuff. But again, since he's the main character here, I don't know if that's going to happen, since it seems like they're painting him as the bad guy. Like, oh, he wants a woman. He can't get a woman. Which kind of just goes down the road of, okay, is he going to go kill some women or something, right? He was never able to get anybody, no matter how hard he tried.
There's something so depressing about it. And this wasn't his only video.
It is easy for me to hide from my emotions for one more day.
There's a punching bag behind him. That's either a good thing or a bad thing. Either he is violent, or two, he's literally just making sure he stays in shape.
A long drive in the car, listen to some music, daydream, or just do some mundane task around the house that really doesn't need to be done, that's not too important.
Looking at this guy, well, listening to him talk, he feels like someone who's about to snap. I don't know if anyone else is feeling that. He feels like he's just fed up with everything, or just fed up with obviously not being able to get a woman. But he seems very like, I'm so over this.
And there you go, one more day, and one more day turns into one more year.
Months later, on June 23rd, 2008, George would return with an upload he had filmed inside of his basement, and in it we get more insight on just how severe his isolation had become, though he still held on to a sliver of optimism thanks to Don Steele's course.
Isolation? Isn't he going to these courses? Isn't he working a job? Because it just means like isolation as in like being unable to get a partner.
Now, RDS says that I have approximately maybe 15 more years to be successful at this. And when I heard that, I wanted to continue immediately to start moving on this. I didn't realize I had that much time. So what my objective is to be real and to learn to be emotional and to be able to emotionally connect with people.
Before he eventually...
I mean, like I said, the last one, it sounded like he was like not necessarily defeated, but nearly defeated. Like, I'm fed up with this. That one had a little bit more hope into it. I mean, literally, because he was talking about having hope. That felt a bit more hopeful, and he seems a bit kind of like awkward-ish as well. I don't know if he's like exasperated either there, because he's like getting a lot of big breaths, I think. But again, I'm just trying to, I don't know where this is gonna go. Is he the bad guy? Because again, he's the main character, so he must be the bad guy. But I don't know.
Eventually reverts back to talking about his uncanny desire to find a younger woman.
Because when I'm 10 to 20 years older than she is, she has to feel good about this thing.
Ending the video with hints of an uncertain future.
I'm going to post this and see what comes back.
Yeah, he's a bit awkward. Maybe like a few percent into the spectrum, possibly. Just the way he's talking and seeing, not necessarily seeing things, but might have some issues, which that's not a problem. But if it becomes a problem, then obviously, I'm not saying anything. But if it becomes a problem, then it's a problem.
He would never upload again.
Okay.
And soon after, it appears George gave up trying, essentially accepting his life of loneliness. But while this would be the last video made to his channel, he wouldn't leave the internet entirely. Soon after this final video was posted, a website was launched called GeorgeSedini.com, which served as a place for George to blog about his emotions.
Why do this? To young girls, just read below. I kept a running log that includes my thoughts and actions after I saw this project was going to drag. Just by the way, from my perspective, my parents, my father is 9 years older. 9 years older than my mother.
And while something,
which that I don't really care. Like, they don't care. That's just normal back then. Because now, like, she's in her 60s, he's in his 70s. They're both old.
like this could have been beneficial for him.
Not that they're, they're divorced at this point, but still.
This website would instead...
That wasn't the reasoning. I need to stop pausing in and out. Actually, we can maybe like sit on this and I'll read this out. Plan to do this in the summer, but figure to stick around to see the election outcome. This particular one, I'm just doing that so I can actually step back. Oh, we have Obama. Not like I give a flying. He misspelled that. Let me see. Election outcome. This particular one got so much attention. And I was just curious, not like I give a flying fuck who won, since this exit plan was already planned. Exit plan. So red flag, you can't see it, but it's behind me. See the exit plan. That's not good.
years. And while something like this could have been beneficial for him, this website would instead...
Tank's plan was already planned. Good luck to Obama. He will be successful. The liberal media loves him. America has chosen the black man. Good. In light of this, I got ideas outside of Obama's plans for the economy and such. Here it is. Every black man should get a young... Okay. I understand why this isn't... on... Like why Crowley isn't reading this. Every black man should get a white girl. Kinda a reverse indentured servitude thing? He's kind of losing the sauce here. Long ago, many old white male, young black person, about time, blah, blah, blah. Besides, blah, 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 blah. Also, this is still in my wheelhouse, because we're talking about age gaps. My mother's white, my dad's black. So, I am a half-black man. So don't get upset about me reading this stuff. I am black. Besides, blah, blah, blah. I mean... I'm not gonna, like... You can read this for yourself. This is just dumb. It's weird to have someone who thinks like this long ago. This guy's pretty old to be using LOL. What are you talking about? Why is he going on a tirade about black guys getting all the white women? Like, with having no issue with doing it. It's not like he's saying it in a negative way towards black people. He's just saying they just can do it. They're just that good. Like, he's not putting them down in this sense. Like, I'm not taking this as a negative. It's not a they're not stereotyping them either here either. It's just, it's kind of, it's positive stereotyping. We're not really at that point, but there's positive stereotypes that are still bad. But he doesn't seem like he's racist against them. He's just
only served to capture his
saying some weird,
madness.
Like, yeah, crazy stuff.
An immediate red flag was raised by the very first text you see on the website.
Because it makes sense for him that how he's acting here doesn't, like, why are you talking about this kind of stuff? It's just like, what is going on out of nowhere? Like, hello?
As George wrote, "Why do this? To young girls? Just read below. I kept a running log that includes my thoughts and actions after I saw this project was going to drag on." With the line serving as some sort of bizarre disclaimer, though with no other context, George's entries began. December 22nd, 2008. Time is moving along. Plan to have this done already. I will just keep a running log here as time passes. Many of the young girls here look so beautiful as to not be human. Very edible. After joining this gym, I started lifting weights and like it.
That's what, again, he has a punching bag behind him, so I feel like that is just to keep himself fit.
This early post encapsulates what this blog would be focused on. Young women he would see throughout the day, his time at the gym, and his plan. This plan was never expressly stated on the website, but it was something he obsessed over, mentioning it in every single one of his posts, and dubbing it the exit plan, even going as far as to provide a date and time for it, January 6th, 2009, at 8:15 p.m. Before this day would come, however, he would provide further insight into just how lonely he was. Moving into Christmas again, last Christmas with Pam was in 1983. Who knows why? I'm not ugly or too weird. No sex since January 1990 either.
Oof.
I was 29. No shit.
29 and 90. I still wasn't born.
Over 18 years ago. I actually look good, I dress good, am clean-shaven, bathe, touch of cologne, yet 30 million women reject me. Over an 18 or 25 year period. That's how I see it. 30 million is my rough guesstimate of how many desirable single women there are. With several other posts of the same nature, the day eventually came for his big exit plan, January 6th, with George writing one message that afternoon. I can do this. This log is not detailed. It is only for confidence to do this. The future holds even less than what I have today. It is 6:40 p.m., about an hour and a half to go. God have mercy. I wish life could have been better for all, and the crazy world can somehow run smoother. I wish I had answers. Bye.
Now, Crowley didn't have a suicide warning at the beginning, so I feel like that means this isn't the exit plan that we think it is, and he's just going to go on a spree. You understand what I mean by that? So this would be murder rather than that. Otherwise, Crowley kind of goofed with not putting it up in the front.
Despite this appearing to be his final post,
Granted, I mean, Masquerade doesn't put anything in the beginning of his videos.
George Sidini wasn't quite
So
finished,
it's kind of just normal.
as he would come back only hours later, writing simply, "It's 8:45 p.m. I chickened out. Shit. I brought the loaded guns, everything."
Guns.
Whatever George Sidini had been planning that day,
Plural.
it was clear that his exit plan was something incredibly disturbing, and based on
That he was going to go postal.
his use of guns, plural,
Yep.
it was likely
Plural.
not just an exit plan for himself. But thankfully, he didn't go through with it. In fact, he seemed to have dropped the plan entirely, as months would go by without any update to his blog, though this wouldn't last.
I mean, he just needed some like proper mental health. Again, I feel like he is not completely all there, which is again why he needed even more help. On top of that, with just the way he was speaking.
As in April of 2009, he began posting yet again, with these entries being even more disturbing. July 23rd, 2009. Wow, I just looked out my front window and saw a beautiful college-age girl leave Bob's house, across the street. I guess he got a good lay today. College girls are hoes. I masturbate, frequently. He is about 45 years old. She was long-haired, hot little hottie with a beautiful bod. I masturbate, frequently. The strangest part of this entire website was, according to those he worked with and the neighbors, they all thought George was normal. A little off, sure, but it appeared that these disturbing thoughts and plans were kept solely in his blog, and solely in his mind.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like that. Like his outside self doesn't really come off as being anything out of the ordinary, and it seems like even the people around him find him to be normal. So it's like, how do you not... Are you even trying, actually? I feel like he's not even trying, because, like, on the outside, he seems like he could easily get someone, I should say. His house, nothing wrong with it. His looks, he's a regular guy. He has a car, he owns a house, especially in 2008, when things are better. I feel like again, the problem is, I think, is he's going after young women. If he's going for women his age, well, then he would have no problem.
But on July 28th, 2009, this would all change. George
Did he go postal, or...
had boarded a Port Authority bus that day and took a seat, carrying with him some sort of duffel bag, and as the ride commenced, he unzipped the bag and began to fiddle with something inside of it. An anonymous man sitting next to him noticed this, and curiously leaned over to see what he was doing. In George Sidini's hand was what appeared to be
a frag?
grenade.
What did he call that, though?
In George Sidini's hand was what appeared to be a grenade.
How do you have this shot? Did he take the picture of the grenade? Yeah, frag grenade, pin pulled. I forget how these things work. Is it as soon as the pin is pulled, it's ignited, and you have X amount of time to before it blows up? I don't think it's on impact. Like, that's not how they work. It's timed. The pin's pulled there. Well, actually, is it the pin? Remove the pin and then the handle. Like, he's gripping that handle in this, so if he lets go of that handle, I think that's when the timer starts. Oof, like, really? How did you get your hands on a frag grenade?
The stunned passenger ran off at the next stop and immediately alerted the police. But bizarrely, nothing actually came of this. No explosions happened that day, and upon police eventually tracking down Sidini 2 days later, he was searched, but there was no sign of this supposed grenade, and the man who had reported this incident was unable to positively identify him.
And what was that image? Did he just take a phone out, while he had his hand, like both hands in the duffel bag, one grenade and the other with his phone, taking a picture of the frag.
And so, George was released, allowing him to continue on with his day, and to continue on with his posting.
Also, was that a dud? Because, again, pin pulled, the handle gripped, it didn't go off. Again, I don't know how grenades exactly work. I think what I said was roughly about how it works. Specifically a fragmentation grenade, which is what I'm talking about, the frag grenade there.
August 3rd, 2009.
Okay, so we jumped several months. Well, a couple months, right? From the last one.
I took off today, Monday, and tomorrow to practice my routine and make sure it was well polished. I need to work out every detail. There is only one shot. Also, I need to be completely immersed into something before I can be successful. I haven't had a drink since Friday at about 2:30. Total effort needed. Tomorrow is the big day. Last time I tried this in January, I chickened out. Let's see how this new approach works. Maybe soon I will see God and Jesus. This was the final update made to GeorgeSedini.com, and unlike his previous attempt at carrying out this exit plan,
I'm assuming he's going to say he's actually going to do it. But again, I mean, the rule that if you do something crazy like that, that's not going to happen. And he just needed some therapy, not some therapy. He needed help.
This time,
that wasn't from some stupid guru.
He didn't back out. On August 4th, 2009, George Sedini would enter an LA Fitness in Bridgeville, Pennsylvania, and walk directly into a woman's aerobics class with a duffel bag in his hand. He then
frag or gun.
Dropped his bag on the floor with a loud bang before he closed the door and shut off all the lights.
Okay, so duffel bag. Did he prime the frag, drop it in on the ground with the duffel bag, and then did he lock them in, or is he in there with them?
In a moment of darkness and confusion, one witness recalled that she felt the presence of someone who didn't belong there. Before total panic would ensue, everyone was just screaming so loud. At first, I didn't even think shots were being fired. It was so surreal. At that moment, George Sedini had brandished 2 guns from his bag and opened fire on the group of 30.
We have actual 3 rendering of what happened. Okay, so he dropped the bag, turned the lights off, and then opened fire.
Women, which was entirely the point. In that dark, cramped room, George would discharge his weapon 52 times, striking 12 different women and then himself. Of the injured, 49-year-old Elizabeth Gannon, 38-year-old Jody Billingsley, and 46-year-old Heidi Overmeyer would tragically lose their lives, while the others were left with permanent injuries, both physical and mental. It wasn't hard to find a motive. George had spelled it out right there in his blog. He desired women so much that his inability to ever gain a real connection with any of them turned his infatuation into pure hatred. And this is how he wanted to make them pay. And the ironic part is that this was all so avoidable, as these plans were heavily implied on his website, which had been publicly available online for roughly an entire year.
Now, who was out there reading that, though? Like, come on. It's just like pure... Like, I don't like throwing this word around. I don't like... Well, I've never used it before in the first place, but this just ended up being an incel, I think. Actually, like literally, like I was holding off on using the term, but yeah, it's just incel, which is kind of like weird thing to think about, like back in 2008. But what's the guy's name? For some reason, I know I end up remembering it all the time. Though now, when I need to remember it, I don't remember it. There's this YouTuber, incel. He was a young guy. He was like literally good looking, so there's no reason he should have had any trouble outside of the fact that his personality was probably like really bad, like really terrible. I just can't remember his name, but he ended up like, shooting up a bunch of people because he was an incel. So that's just and that was like a long time ago. So I guess they've just been around for a long time. This kind of like mentality.
Yet no one cared enough about him to ever look.
It is easy for me to hide from my emotions for one more day.
Knowing what we know now, George's channel is highly disturbing, as it shows us a glimpse into a mind on the verge of completely snapping, and a last gasp attempt at achieving normalcy by a person who would go on to become a monster when he didn't get what he wanted.
Okay, so he said he did fire on himself. So I'm assuming he's dead, which that counts is self-deletion, but he didn't, I guess because it wasn't, what kind of term would you use? Righteous? Because it's not righteous. Self-deletion, it's like sad self-deletion, then that's why there wasn't a warning up front. Because it was like a malicious self-deletion.
Just everything I need. Well, that about sums it up.
Yeah, the slight bit of like anger in the voice. Like you can barely hear it. Again, the anger, the fed upness.
Hi guys, I am with Lewis. Just having a little drink.
This
Mark
place.
Williams always dreamed of being a YouTuber.
We got
He had grown
parkour.
up watching parkour content on the site, becoming attached to both its many talented creators and the hobby itself.
Well, we're already implying that this guy's dead because of how he's talking about this dude.
Eventually becoming so inspired by it that he launched his own channel in 2019, at the age of just 15, with Mark hoping that someday this channel would make that dream of his come true. The page went by many names over the years, but eventually Mark would settle on the moniker Displace, and depending on who you ask, his videos were either extremely impressive or extremely irresponsible. They showed scenes of Mark high atop buildings, jumping rooftop to rooftop, climbing on massive abandoned cranes, and fleeing from security guards and the cops on more than a few occasions.
Police are on the way already now. Yeah, they'll catch me then, won't they?
Oh, rolling back real quick. So I was making comments on his like post here, like the weird like black people post. I was thinking it wasn't racist. I think he was being hateful towards women, so he's being misogynistic here by wanting to throw. I don't know why it didn't come to me when I was reading it. Yeah, because I just saw like him talking so weirdly about black people. I was like, I mean, he's not being like negatively racist towards them. He's trying to give them benefits. He wants Obama to be president, which he did end up becoming president. He wants to give black men just like women for free. So like he was being negative towards women. So obviously like the hatred was already like really building up here at this point, because he just wanted to turn them into slaves, white women into slaves specifically.
Often seen with him was his younger brother, who he had grown incredibly close with, which was due in part to the fact that Mark was somewhat of a loner and didn't have many friends in his own personal life. Though according to his mother, this wasn't necessarily by choice, as she explained that he did desperately want friendship, and he was incredibly caring, he just had a habit of making the wrong friends, describing Mark as trusting to a fault.
Keep talking in past tense again, which you're already giving away the story, unless it actually doesn't turn that way.
Mark's longing for camaraderie became especially apparent not long after the launch of Displace, as his brother slowly began appearing less and less in his videos, forcing him to do these free runs by himself, which he implied was something he didn't enjoy nearly as much.
Like he shouldn't be up there in that crane. We're gonna have some sort of crane accident.
Brother, who was part of the channel, Ben, he's not now. I don't think he's coming back at all. He ditched me, leaving me by myself, and I've got a problem with talking to myself as well.
This, coupled with the fact that he was dealing with the tribulations of growing up, led to his uploads on the channel becoming more and more sporadic, as he would often go dark for a few months, only to return with the promise of more consistent uploads.
Alright guys, don't know if you can see me or not, but I promise you Displace is coming back.
That often never came. It was clear that he still longed to be a YouTuber, he just needed some sort of a spark. And sure enough, at the end of 2020, he would find one right in his own comment section.
2020? I was expecting videos of this quality in 2020.
In a since-deleted video, Mark would receive a comment from a man named Lewis Ashdown, who explained that he was a big fan of Mark's content and that he would love to join him in an upcoming video, as they both just so happened to live in Uckfield. It was
And don't trust this man.
exactly what Mark had been needing, a friend. And not only a friend, but a friend he could make videos with.
I mean, well, a complete stranger from the internet who wants to meet you in person.
So that's exactly what he would do.
Hi guys, I'm back here with Lewis, and we're going to do the water treatment facility in Uckfield.
I mean, that looked like a grown man, but here he looks like a kid too.
Field on the industrial estate. See you in a sec, guys.
From their first meeting on, Lewis became a core part of the Displaced channel, leading to the two growing closer by the day, with Mark speaking about this bond on a live stream in March of 2021.
Well, grown man, a young man.
If you're going exploring at an abandoned pub, yeah, keep your mate with you. Make sure he's someone you can trust, you know, and be careful is all I can say. Because in the video where me and Lewis climbed the college, you know, I was constantly looking out for him because he did get dangerously close to some of the edges, but you know, that's what life's about, isn't it?
But despite
That was kind of weird, the way he was talking. I mean, we were saying he's having like issues as well, but that felt, I don't know how to describe that.
finding his new parkour partner, Mark still had other issues getting in the way of his uploads, as he was now 18 years old and was facing the reality of having to get a job, forcing him to put his channel on the back burner. Mark discussed this struggle and the many others he was facing at the time in that same March livestream, with his tone about Displace's future sounding less than optimistic.
I've been doing some talking with Lewis, seeming like he wants to get back into climbing and stuff. I haven't actually done it since Christmas, and I've got a bad back. Right? It's been getting worse and worse lately.
At 15? Like, Jesus Christ.
Don't know why. I need to go to the hospital and have myself checked out. I am not sure where my channel is going to go. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing these videos. I don't know if I'm going to be doing different videos or whether I'm going to stop completely.
But unlike other times when he had gotten down on his channel, this time he wasn't alone, and his friend Lewis was there to have his back, as he pushed Mark to continue his work, even showing up in the comments of this livestream under the name Moral Unknown, where he went as far as to offer up a potential location that they could film their next video in order to get Mark re-inspired. We'll do Buxted Hotel first video back? And sure enough, just days later, the two would arrive at Buxted Hotel to begin filming yet another video.
And he's kind of leading this kid along to where, who knows?
Hi guys, I am with Lewis.
He drinking
Just having
alcohol?
a drink.
Yeah, I was saying, I immediately saw that he's drinking something that was possibly alcohol, which is not great. Again, this kid was supposed to be 15 when he started the channel, so I don't know how it works over there, but I feel like across the pond, as they say, I feel like over there is a bit more lenient with kids drinking, question mark, than it would be here. So I don't know. I don't know if he's of age or not, because you're videotaping a potential child drinking, but maybe he's actually old, because again, he has a beard in quotations. So I don't know how old this guy is. He might be in his 20s, but again, still kind of weird. This 20-year-old, 20-something, possibly 20-something, hanging out with this 15-year-old kid.
This would be their last on the Displaced channel, as not even 2 months after it was uploaded, both Mark Williams and Lewis Ashdown would vanish without a trace.
Let me hear that again. What did you say?
Their last on the Displaced channel, as not even 2 months after it was uploaded, both Mark Williams.
Okay, so he said not even 2 months after it was uploaded, they both vanished, which is implying that they didn't vanish on the day that video uploaded. In some sort of 2-month period, they both vanished.
And Lewis Ashdown would vanish without a trace.
2021?
It was the waning hours of Saturday, May 29th, 2021. Mark met Lewis at the Maresfield Recreation Ground to have a few drinks and discuss their next potential video. Though once there, it was the drinks that took priority, and very quickly Mark had become intoxicated, leading to him calling his house to tell his aunt, who he had been living with, that he would be heading back now. On the call, his aunt could tell that he was drunk, but Lewis
DUI? Gonna crash and die from that, possibly?
chimed in to assure her not to worry, telling her, "I'll get him home safe."
Could be probably both drunk. So is that just where this is going? They drunks drive themselves off into somewhere that's hard to find, and then they didn't find them until months and months later.
Which made his aunt feel slightly better. After all, it was only a short few-minute walk back to the house anyway. Instead, 12 hours would pass, and Mark still hadn't made it back.
Okay, so they did not drive. They walked? Because she said it was only a walk. So I'm going to assume they were going to walk. So no, something else happened.
While Lewis himself also failed to arrive home. At some point during their short walk back, both boys had disappeared.
And if there's a forest, maybe
They
they
were
got
reported
lost.
as missing the very next morning, and the area they were last in was combed thoroughly, though very little was uncovered. Around them had been large pockets of forest and murky bodies of water, leading to some questioning if perhaps the boys had gotten lost, or even had fallen into the water. Though regardless of the theories, as a full 24 hours passed, many began to fear the worst, until something strange happened.
Strange.
Reports began pouring in from witnesses claiming to have seen Lewis. Some thought they saw him leaving a local pub the morning after he supposedly had gone missing, while others had seen him at a local movie theater, seemingly completely unaware that the whole town was looking for him. These sightings introduced the possibility that the boys were perhaps runaways, causing several pleas to be made throughout the press, begging them to come back home.
I mean, obviously, Lewis did something to our main guy here.
But it would be the police who would find Lewis first, tracking him down at his friend named Liam Hansen's house. There, the cops fired off a barrage of questions, as they not only tried...
Crowley, why did you word it that way? Fired off a bunch of questions. That was on purpose. Because like, it makes it seem like, what? They started opening a fire on this kid? Like, hello? Crowley? Phrasing?
tried to get answers as to where the boys had been, but more importantly now, they needed to know where Mark was. Throughout all the sightings, it was only ever Lewis that had been spotted, and even now, after searching this friend's home, Mark wasn't there either. So where had Mark Williams gone? Well, Lewis himself offered very little, outright refusing to speak on the boys' whereabouts, but his friend Liam wasn't so quiet, as when he was questioned separately, he claimed to know exactly what had happened on the night of May 29th, 2021,
Oof. Just like threw his friend to the wolves.
the day in which both boys had disappeared. And he knew because Lewis had told him.
I mean, of course.
According to the boy, the night that Lewis and Mark had met at the park, Lewis poured a cocktail for his friend, and then another, each one stronger than the last, causing Mark to become drunk almost immediately. Realizing he was drinking too much, Mark told Lewis that he had enough, but Lewis persisted, outright demanding that he keep drinking, leading to...
Did he give him alcohol poisoning? Why was he trying to do that? Again, I don't know why this guy's trying to kill this guy, but of course I was suspicious of him from the get-go, but that's because I thought he was an adult trying to snatch up this kid, kill him, etc. But why is another kid trying to kill another kid?
Mark begging Lewis to let him stop. At one point, Mark's pleas finally caused Lewis to back off, as the boy instead agreed to make him a non-alcoholic drink, only for him to fill the cup with even more liquor when Mark wasn't looking. By 11:30,
Couldn't you just taste the alcohol?
Mark could barely stand, prompting him to make that phone call to his aunt, letting her know that he would be back soon. Meanwhile, Lewis had been so preoccupied with getting his friend drunk that he was still fairly sober at this point, and in his sober state, he promised Mark's aunt that he would get him home safe. Seconds after that phone call ended, Mark hunched over to vomit, which is precisely when Lewis pulled a large kitchen knife from his pocket and plunged it directly into Mark's back. Mark stumbled and asked Lewis to call him an ambulance, being unable to comprehend what had just happened, to which Lewis responded by laughing, before doing it again, and again, and again. This is what Lewis had told Liam in the days after the alleged attack, but as Liam recounted the story to the police, he made it clear that this wasn't just a tall tale, as he had actually seen it for himself.
How?
When Lewis had told him the story, he pulled out his phone and put it up to Liam's face, revealing that he had filmed the entire ordeal.
Okay. Was he trying to make snuff? We got kids trying to make snuff now in 2020, like 2021? And what kind of timeline are we in?
And sure enough, when police searched Lewis's devices, they would find that footage, though it was far worse than they ever could have imagined. On Lewis Ashdown's cell phone were 7 total videos depicting the attack, with the footage spanning nearly an hour in total, during which Mark had been stabbed 107 times, on top of having a number of other sadistic things done to him. And all the while, it was said that Lewis was giggling manically. When asked about what he had seen in those recordings, Liam provided further detail on just how awful the attack was, recounting that he ripped Mark's eyes out. Proper psychotic stuff. I was going into shock. I was shocked how he came out with it. I wanted to run and tell someone. This was...
I feel like, how do you hold that in as like a child? Just watching the most horrific snuff that you you probably are gonna ever see in your entire life. And knowing that it was your good friend that did the snuff, not only recorded it but also was the person doing it.
Was clearly not a normal crime. It displayed a level of evil and hatred that goes past human comprehension.
Yeah, I feel like it was premeditated from the get-go, right? Because they were trying to get his attention in his chat and then go places with him. It was only a matter of time, I feel like. 'Cause he was clearly preying on this dude, and there was some unease in Mark's tone and just talking about Lewis in one of those videos where he's just sitting in front of the camera talking about being safe or whatnot. Like it felt like he was very uneasy about Lewis. And then here we are. I think this was all premeditated from the get-go. He was going to try to kill this guy from day one, sending the message to him on YouTube or
due to its
wherever.
brutality, police assumed that surely something must have happened between these two to breed so much hatred inside of Lewis. But according to Lewis, this wasn't actually the case. Instead, he stated that he had simply found Mark to be annoying, and that he had been wanting to kill him for some time because of this, and had just been waiting for the right moment. Plus, he always wanted to know what it was like to kill someone. And that was it. That was his entire motive. Lewis Ashdown would be arrested the day he was found and later sentenced to life in prison, with parole eligibility in 25 years, while Mark's body was found dumped in a nearby body of water, and eventually given a proper burial.
Hi guys, I'm back here with Lewis, and we're going to do the water treatment facility.
With this context, Mark's channel is utterly devastating. All he wanted was a friend to film videos with, but sure enough, as his mother had warned, he was trusting to a fault.
If you're going exploring at an abandoned pub, yeah, keep your mate with you, make sure he's someone you can trust, and be careful.
Which brings us to a disturbing revelation. Just months before he would kill Mark, Lewis was the one that encouraged him to get back out there and film with him, and based on his testimony that he had been wanting to kill Mark for a long time, it makes it very clear that he was doing this not to be a good friend, but to get Mark alone in an isolated spot, so that he could carry out his plan.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. It was premeditated from day one. I mean, that's the video I was talking about. This, when he was talking about Lewis and keeping each other safe. And then the touching of the mouth just felt like, it's just reading into it, but it felt like he wasn't feeling too good about Lewis. Like he could already feel, whether it was subconscious or not, like something was up.
That he had been wanting to kill Mark for a long time. It makes it very clear that he was doing this not to be a good friend, but to get Mark alone in an isolated spot, so that he could carry out his plan. And adding more weight to this theory, when they visited the Buxted Hotel, which Lewis himself had suggested during the livestream, Mark was uncharacteristically drunk.
Hi guys, I am with Lewis. Just having a little drink. Okay, so we'll smash this after we smash these.
Which was never really part of his channel before that upload. And Lewis was uncharacteristically nervous.
We're going to do a couple more bangers. Can't tell you what they are in case anyone's watching that shouldn't be watching.
Who's watching?
Well, no, I mean watching the videos. Because I thought, yeah, I know that the police do watch my channel sometimes.
Paranoid even of being caught by the cops, despite
I think he, in that moment, he thought maybe he was live streaming, possibly. Like, wait, what? Who's watching? But it was obviously just the regular videos.
Being totally unfazed in previous videos, where in some he was literally being chased by security guards. And coincidentally, by the end of this video, we get an indication as to why Lewis was so nervous. Because he had been carrying a knife. All this leads me to believe that that night, Lewis pushed Mark to film a video in an abandoned location, then got him drunk, and was going to carry through with the murder, before eventually backing out for unknown reasons. And all the while, Mark was completely unaware, never once suspecting that the man he had been filming with had secretly been plotting to kill him, and one day would actually go through with it.
Okay, I'll wrap it up now then, guys. Yep, I'll see ya.
I think I'm going to try and stay on this side and go across. Well, this should be quite amusing.
This water looks like it's alligator infested. Yeah, oof. And that, like, I don't know why or how this kid was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna kill a dude. I hate him. Of course, he ended that guy's life. He ruined another guy's life probably because then his friend saw that video and his life's probably ruined because he's probably never going to forget what he saw. So, should have kept him in prison. No 25 years parole. Just keep him in there.
Enjoy!
Joshua Brown? This is the last thing. Oh,
Joshua
motorcycle.
Brown started his YouTube channel back in 2010, a time when many individuals, including himself, used the site to upload random videos offering momentary glimpses into their lives. Joshua was in his mid-30s at the time and had recently finished serving in the Navy before
Past tense.
eventually settling down in Canton, Ohio, where he
I don't think that was for the fact that he was 30 or whatever. It was the fact that he was among the living.
at the time and had recently finished serving in the Navy before eventually settling down in Canton, Ohio, where he focused on his many passions. He loved driving, he loved technology, he loved a little bit of danger. And soon he became infatuated with a product that was essentially the sum of all three.
Get past tense. Tesla.
For Joshua, these electric vehicles were a technological marvel and the future of the automotive industry, and he dreamed of one day having one, with that dream eventually coming true in 2015 when he would purchase his very own Tesla Model S that would eventually become his life and his YouTube channel's primary focus. He began uploading videos of his new car immediately, but rather than these focusing on the vehicle itself, it was its most controversial feature that interested him the most.
Which is, oh, self-driving. Okay, well, we know where this is going. Self-driving is gonna end up deleting this guy, unfortunately.
Autopilot. The feature had become available for Tesla drivers in October of 2015, which is exactly when Joshua purchased his car and began uploading these videos showcasing its possibilities.
It takes all the stress out of it. Get to your destination slightly slower, but hey, at least now you don't have to worry about anything. It's just let it go.
He wanted to essentially be a pioneer, providing an overview of what self-driving was really all about, breaking down the specifics and showcasing a variety of unique situations that you might find yourself in if you were to use this driving mode yourself.
This section in here is going to be very, very difficult for the car to handle. We're filming this just so that you can see scenarios where the car does not do well, so that you've got something to judge off of it when you're driving on your own.
And he tried.
I mean, at least he's making like educational videos. Like he's actually just trying to make good educational content about something that he loves.
To make a point of doing so safely, as he never used the camera behind the wheel and always had someone helping him to avoid any accidents.
Which is a problem because if an accident happens now, it's him and the other person who are going to die.
But despite his focus on safety, it was clear that he was pushing the capabilities of this brand new technology, as at this point it was still in its infancy, with one of the more glaring red flags being the placement of his hands.
Here we are, stop and go traffic on.
But not at 10 and 2, because he doesn't have them on them at all.
Ah, jeez. Car's doing it all itself.
When Joshua was shown driving, he hardly ever had his hands on the wheel, as he said he wanted to get the true experience of self-driving. This was something that Tesla had actually adamantly advised against, and even had visual and audible warnings if it detected that your hands were off the steering wheel. But Joshua seemed to find a workaround, as he instead used his legs to avoid tripping the sensor, while keeping his hands close by, ready to grab the wheel in case of an emergency.
How I actually do it is so that it is really actually hands-free, is I keep my knees up, because the tack works pretty good, but I can still get my foot down to a brake, and just keep it like this, because you can react so quickly.
It was clear that Joshua truly believed that this car that was driving him was safe.
I mean, you can react quickly, it doesn't mean you can react quickly enough.
And this belief was only strengthened on April 5th of 2016. That day, Joshua had been driving his car on the interstate when a large truck suddenly merged into his lane, with its driver not even seeing his car. And before Joshua could even react, the autopilot kicked in and veered out of the way, avoiding what would have been a certain collision. Amazed by the event, Joshua would upload dashcam footage of the close call to his YouTube channel, where he praised the vehicle's response. "Tessie did great. Excellent job, Elon." This video would immediately go viral, exploding
8 years ago
to over 4 million views between the two versions that Joshua had posted. But while the response to this video was overwhelming, especially for a channel that was accustomed to getting just a few hundred views, there was one response in particular that impacted Joshua the most. as Tesla's owner, Elon Musk, would repost the video on Twitter.
Oof. That's just him saying owner video of autopilot steering to avoid collision with a truck.
Stunned by the tweet, Joshua would later state, "For something to catch Elon Musk's eye, I can die and go to heaven now." He had no way of knowing then, but this would not be the last time that Elon Musk would tweet about him, though his next feature would be under much different circumstances.
Our condolences for the tragic loss.
It happened just 1 month after Joshua Brown's video had gone viral. He was driving on Highway 27 on a clear sunny day at approximately 4 p.m. With open road ahead, Joshua turned on his trusted autopilot, and it stayed in autopilot mode for over half an hour, as at this point, his trust in the car was higher than ever, causing Joshua to seemingly lose focus on the road, as he was quickly coming up on an intersection where a massive 18-wheeler had been turning left, blocking Joshua's entire lane. Joshua was seemingly so unfocused that he didn't even notice it. Even stranger, the car itself didn't detect this either, despite the entire trailer being horizontal in their lane.
Now, I'm assuming this was on purpose, and that shot wasn't from that, because Crowley picked like the perfect shot to talk about this, and because it was
where a massive 18-wheeler had been turning left, blocking Joshua's entire lane. Joshua was seemingly
see here. There's his face and then the 18-wheeler in the back. I don't think this is a video of what happened. It just happens that he has a video of himself with an 18-wheeler in the background.
Either, despite the entire trailer being horizontal in their lane. This was due to its pure white body, as the sun was shining so brightly against it that, for whatever reason, it became invisible to the self-driving AI. And with neither Joshua nor the car registering the danger that they were in, the vehicle would strike the trailer, going 74 miles per hour. There were no attempts by Joshua to even move the steering wheel, and the brakes hadn't so much as been tapped. The collision happened at full speed, and it happened so fast that the car drove straight through underneath, shearing the entire top of the vehicle off, and continuing driving full speed down the road, before it would eventually crash to a halt. When the driver of the truck rushed over to see the damage, Joshua Brown was already dead, and the truck driver could hear nothing but the sound of Harry Potter.
You can own it on DVD and video. The adventure is bigger. The magic is stronger. Harry Potter.
Discovered in Joshua Brown's car was a DVD player, which many believe Joshua had used to watch Harry Potter while on that drive.
Yeah, he must have been watching that. That's why he was so unfocused.
Thus explaining why he never reacted to the impending collision. Now, this is something that has been disputed by his family, and ultimately it doesn't seem to have been fully proven or disproven. But in the end, the fault of the accident was placed mainly on the driver of the truck, who had made that left turn, and Joshua Brown, who had failed to pay attention to the road, as it was revealed that during his 37-minute drive, he only had his hands on the wheel for just 25 total seconds. Joshua Brown always wanted to be part of the innovation of Tesla's autopilot, and in doing so, he wrote himself into the history books as being the first person to ever perish in a self-driving accident. And while this is no doubt a tragedy, his death has led to numerous safety improvements and a better understanding of the self-driving technology that he had given his life to study.
And there's the end. Typical credits. So, that last one was kind of just interesting. I don't think I really had much to say about that one. I mean, it's unfortunate, of course, that happened. But let's re-go about it. I mean, this one was going on for a while. The Nice Guy Must Die one. Which, like, oof, like, there's an incel here who really just needed some sort of therapy, I think, and maybe, like, date women your age, though he went to a place that had a bunch of older women, so I don't know what that's about. He ended a bunch of older women, which, I mean, that should have been the people you were trying to go after and date in the first place. Granted, I think they probably had spouses already. This one, again, I don't know why this kid had premeditated a murder on this guy for so long, but this is relatively new. So, I don't know. I feel like the mental health of humanity has been declining more and more with time. So, this might be a case of that. in my opinion. And this one is just like, that sucks. And that's just unfortunate on that one. Okay, guys. Next time we're gonna have Lazy Masquerade. Right? I think that'll be the last Lazy Masquerade video I have to watch, unless I decide to watch any of the other ones. I'll have to see if there's anything I also want to watch off of his channel right now. And then, of course, back to Crowley, and then maybe we'll start adding extra stuff on top of that. Or we could just like go all Crowley, the rest of the Crowley stuff back to back to back to back, and then try to find something else. Because then we might add Ballin', we might add Nuke's Top 5 nonsense as well. Anything else I can think of. Again, I want to do... I've said it so many times at this point, I want to do The Amazing Digital Circus in this series. The only problem is, again, I'm pretty sure they got bought out by HBO or somebody, so it's just not safe, I feel like, to react to that show anymore if it is in fact bought out by HBO. Question mark. Because then it's just going to get striked and destroy the channel, so it's just not worth it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Remember to buy my stickers, or think about becoming a member, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, so you can watch time and subscribers, and don't forget me with those as well. And shout out the members, EmmyStarr and RaleyDrew. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Tune into the next episode. Like, subscribe, comment. You know what to do. See ya.